Support Pro Play Games on Patreon.
Yo, Dragon Ball Super Players, it's your boy here, Frisco Fives here, with another deck profile. Let's get into it, with another profile with my girl Launch. You know, I love Launch decks, think she's awesome. She got a little bit of life with set 16, so I want to do a quick deck profile on this. I guys hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you guys have any feedback, questions on it. You can PM me directly, whatever works out. I hope you enjoy it. Let's kind of go over it. I'll give a quick overview of the staple cards, what she does. I won't do too much of that because the engine has been out for a while, so I won't deep dive into it. I want to kind of go over the archetype, play lines, things like that, to understand the card choices and whatnot. This leader doesn't awaken, it just flips flippity floppies on both sides. When you combo a card, you draw a card. When you flip a life, you flip her on the opposite side, either on the back or the front, and you can't flip for the remainder of the turn. And when you flip, you draw another card, and then you get the auto again. Draw another card when you combo it. So you basically see 3 new cards by using 2 cards from your hand, a flipper and another 0-5 or 1-10K basically. But on the back side is when you want to be swinging with her, because then you get the auto basically shrinking a card by -5K, unison or battle card or leader card. So just kind of keep that in mind. The flipper cards are going to be the 2 launch cards and the Bulma 1-drop. Bulma 1-drop's a cantrip, keep that in mind. I'm not going to go over too in depth with them just because they've been out for a while, but the SR is the best one because it works from the drop area and when you're on your back side or on your front side. So if your leader's a 5K, you could use this from the drop, draw 2 and still flip your leader. So it is the best one to try to mulligan for, but if you have like 1 promo and 1 Bulma 1-drop, you just keep them. You really want to have 2 in the opener. But yeah, this is what flips your life over, which then flips your leader over, etc., etc. I'm sure you guys know the engine by now, but if not, I would just take a minute just to read these cards over and how the leader interacts with it, and you'll kind of understand. And I'll explain more of the reason why we're doing this later with a certain new card. So yeah, that kind of goes over the leader and the engine cards with it. The main reason why I went back to Launcher was this card here, Beerus, Combative Impulse. So this is a cool new 2-drop, super generic. So when this card is played, choose either one of your opponent's battle cards, switch it to rest mode. Once per turn, when this card KOs, or when this card attacks and KOs a battle card, draw a card, switch card to active mode, and your opponent places 1 card from the life at the bottom of their deck, right? So this card's similar to Piccolo Jr. Eradicator, because it's an extremely powerful 2-drop. If you're on the play, it's very hard to overcome, especially if they have a battle card already in play, right? So the cool thing about this deck, right, is that you get to combo 2 cards from your hand and not actually lose any card advantage, right? So say if you're on your back, say if you're on the play, right, charge 1, your opponent attacks you, you know, you do the whole flip, pitch another card, so you draw 2 cards, and on your turn you attack leader because you're on your front side or on your back side, right, and you pitch no cards, and then you play the 2-drop, and then you get 2 free combo cards. You basically get to make this a 26K to something that's smaller, right? So in like the Wii deck or whatnot, you have like a lot of other synergy cards that go in with like comboing off the Beerus swings. Well, Launch just naturally gets that free combo power without losing cards out of their hand to take advantage of that, right? So that's like the synergy with the deck. Hey, you play this 2-drop, I get to swing and then combo cards and not actually, and guarantee not losing cards out of hand because it's already built in. Whereas the Whis engine is that you need to KO the card to make sure you don't lose value with like the SR4 drop or other cards in their deck, that it more things happen if you actually KO the battle card, whereas I'm already getting value because if they're trading cards for the cards that I used, they're going to be losing more net value over the course of the game because I didn't lose any cards out of hand, but they did, protecting that threat on the board. The other synergy here is that it really synergizes with the blue-red arrival cards, which are the best cards for Launch. I think we can all agree on that, which is like the cooler Tyrannical Assault or Hercule Boo, right? So both of these are arrival. This one's blue, cooler's red. What they both do, Boo doesn't ignore barrier, but shrinks something by 10k, draws a card, super important. It can bounce a blue or red 3-drop or less back to your hand, so this can protect your Beerus, right? At the end of your turn, your Beerus is a rest mode and you combo this in play, bounce back to your hand. Cool. A cooler shrinks something by barrier. Two things, ignoring barrier. Doesn't have to be barrier, but minus 10k in the middle card. This costs a red. This is double strike, 20k. Super good. The cool thing about this is when after turn 2, you get to chain these arrival cards into bigger threats, right? So say you combo flipper card and a blue card, right? And then you're like, hey, I get to now arrival something. Say if you're attacking like a thwarting, right? And thwarting is 25k. Well, you just combo 2 cards. You're at a 26k to their 25k. Say then you arrival one of these guys and you shrink their bigger threat to like a 15k. Or then you chain things, like you play one of these and a Boo. And it goes down to a 5k. And all of a sudden you're at a 26k to a 5k. And you remove the threat, a viable threat for that matter. And you still burn one, and you get to switch to active mode, and you get to draw a card, right? So you get to do all that removal, and you still get to continue on your turn. You just develop the board. So that's like the thought process with it, which, you know, these rival cards are still really good on their own, regardless if you're able to play this 2-drop or not. And to synergize with this, with the blue-red rival cards, you got the Beerus super combo, right? Probably the best super combo with launch, I would say. More energy usually develops better game plan over the course of the game. So super good on that part. Just taps the red-blue energy in rest mode. To round out the blue-red cards, I wanted to go over actually the warp lane here. So this is quite interesting. So this is Champabatos. You don't care about the activate main. You're not going to ever use that. But when you're placing this card in your energy, if you send 1 blue card and 1 red card from your drop area to the warp, you get to play this card in active mode. So the cool thing about launch is you're usually using a flipper card turn 1 and another card to combo. So on turn 2, you get to send a flipper card, not your SR. Don't do it if it's your SR. Keep that and drop your card's really good. But say if it's your Poma or a launch promo, and then you combo a hit, or you combo a Kai, or combo one of these Goku Blacks, right? Then on turn 2, you just play this in active mode. So typically you want to charge a blue-yellow on turn 1, then you follow up and charge this turn 2, and it's basically your check land, but for red-blue. So you don't actually lose energy over the course of the game. And just keep in mind, not many things in the deck cost red energy, right? So you got Violent Rays, that cost red, Cooler cost red, and Crown cost a red. This other Cooler 5 costs 1 red as well. And Almighty Resistance, which I'll go over. So if you don't have a Beerus super combo in hand, or you don't have something to utilize the red energy, you don't actually have to, if you don't have this by turn 2 or turn 1 or whatever, you don't actually have to charge a red blue on turn 2, right? So just don't feel like you're forced to do it, because like we have other check lands as well. So just kind of keep that in mind, right? Just, you can be smart about when you charge the other red blue, because if your hand doesn't warrant that you need a red energy, or you have a Beerus super combo, then just don't do it. You can charge something else in the meantime and go from there. Yeah, so just gonna keep in mind that. The other red-blue card, the last one he has the Cooler here, the Suffocating Tyranny here. It's a good card. 25k, triple strike, cost 3, red-blue arrival. When a card attack or played, shrink something by 25k, they mill 1. At the end of your turn, you get to bounce it back to your hand, untap a red or blue energy. It's really good defensively, especially if you play this whole back and forth game of like, hey, I'm not playing a threat, you're not playing a threat, and you play this on their turn, you kind of force them to make a move kind of thing. It's a good card for them to do that. I think 1 is fine. You could probably do 2, but I like to keep decks, the launch decks right now around like 56, 57 cards. This one I think is 57, yeah. To round off the blue-yellow cards, we got Hit Rapid Movement. This is just a blue-yellow card that acts like a blue card on arrival, right? So if your combo a flipper, you want to combo a blue card, you can also just combo hit. We have no blue-yellow arrival. You could like side deck or put in a couple cards. None are really great. I mean, you could do Kefla, but it's like, doesn't really fit the theme of the deck, you can always side out the Beerus 2-drop for Keflas if it like warrants whatever matchup makes more sense. So it's basically, this card is a blue-yellow card that acts as a blue combo card for your blue-red cards. So it basically kind of links the two colors together without actually forcing any deck space issues or anything like that. Then we have Zamasu the Eliminator. As you can see, a bunch of text here. This doesn't affect unisons anymore. Good riddance. As a soul striker guy speaks. So it only count as battle cards for or less return to their hand. When they play a battle card, you tap one, tap a battle card, draw a card. It's still really good. But it's also a check land as well for blue-yellow. So just keep that in mind. So if you charge a blue-yellow turn 1 and you have this turn 2, you can charge this turn 2 and still play your Beerus 2-drop and be good about it. So that serves that functionality there. To kind of round out the blue-yellow cards here, I want to kind of the sleeper cards in the deck. Goku Black here, the Unforeseen Darkness. This card is not really leader restricted or color restricted. You just need a blue-yellow card, multicolor card in your energy, but this deck does turn 1. So it's basically more copies of the Beerus in your deck. Or if they don't have a threat, basically what this does is pay 2, draw 2, untap 1. Draw 2, discard 1, and then untap 1 at the end of your turn, which it lets you untap a blue or a yellow energy, right? So you get to keep your blue-red tapped and keep your blue-yellow untapped kind of thing. So you still have Senzu Bean or your Beerus Super Combo online and do arrival stuff. So keep that in mind. It's a really good card. Actually, kind of like one of the sleeper cards in the deck, because this deck has battle cards to play on your turn without the arrival step, or the combo step, I should say. So just keep that in mind. That's actually one of the cool pluses about this deck, is that you're not dependent on like, hey, I need this leader swing to hit so I can actually progress my gameplay. And you actually have threats to play on board, which this card has actually been doing pretty well, which could be just as good as the Beerus in this deck, just because having a body on board with launch is usually sometimes really good. So that goes over the blue-red and the blue-yellow stuff. The last multicolor card I want to go over here is the Almighty Resistance. This is red-yellow. We have a red, we have a yellow energy. Not the combination you would think, but we do. So Beerus deck, or the Whis deck with the Beerus tribal deck, came out with a counter card. I was like thinking like, oh, I should put that card in the deck. I was like, wait a second, I just have Almighty Resistance, which works for all threats in the deck. So I was like, all right, let me just put that in the deck. Just if your leader card is red, pitch a yellow card, which is basically all your blue-yellow cards. Pitch one of those cards and counter. It's basically cooler, 3-drop that, you know, Icarus runs and etc. Really good card. I think it's just good as a one-of. I don't want to play any more of that. I think it's just good as a one-of. Yeah. Other mono red cards I want to go over here. Violent Rays. It's pretty good as a 2-of. It's not necessarily like a 3 or 4-of. You just need it probably by turn 4. It's like if your opponent turn 4, turn 5, when your opponent's like, all right, I'm gonna kill you with like Pan, Secret Identities, Turleses, yada yada. And then like, hey, you're like, hey, hold your horses, brah. You know, Violent Rays does that still. It's not dependent. You don't need it in the first 3 turns anymore. Especially with this being a very combo centric deck, very much in like the combo step. You don't need as many negates, but still 2. I would definitely keep 2 in the deck. Brawly, Crown of Retribution. Another good reason why a red leader is good with the Beerus 2-drop. Your opponent's leaving up energy. Like, hey, I gotta hold up negates, or I gotta hold up counters for my 2-drops. And you just play this first. See their hand, like, this 2-drop Beerus doesn't look good right now. So I won't play that card. You know, so just keep that in mind. I love it as a 2-of. I can see it being a 3-of. A great target to balance with Hercule Boo, so you can put it back in your hand and then replay it. As far as mono blue cards, I've already went over the Goku Black. Force Senzu Bean. It's like Launch's best friend. It can't run opposing presence. So if you run Senzu Bean, you get more energy, more lines of plays. One of the best cards, if not the best card in the game. Another card is Isekai, Keeping Watch. This is really good on decks that are playing battle cards on your turn. Basically this deck, but more prevalent decks are going to be like Icarus decks because of all their counter plays, right? Or with Goku Steadfast or Repose, even blue decks, right? you know, we have a lot of decks that play battle cards on your turn, so this just helps it, and it's a blue 5k combo off board if need be. Pay one, draw one is always good as well, so it's good to punish your opponent for trying to like sneak threats on board on your turn. We're like, hey, that's what I'm supposed to do. Only I can do it, kind of thing. So definitely like it. I definitely like it as a 3-up. I have 3 here, 3 Goku Black. I can definitely see some ratios changing between 2 of these, like 4 Goku Black, 2 Kais, or try to make room for 4/4 kind of thing. There's just not much room, and I don't really want to go above 57 cards. So just keep that in mind too. All right, then for our overwhelm spots, we have Secret Identity, getting 6 cards in the drop, super easy, barely inconvenience when you're doing 2-3 cards per turn with your leader. Warping 6 or combine 6 cost of battle cards in play, kills to all tokens in play, 25k single strike, free, energy wise, super good. Also have a Shrouded. Shrouded turns off all your opponent's skills. Overall, cost 10, costing 6 energy though. Only a few counters of this card: God Sealing, Cold Bloodlust, Android, Super 17, Secret Rare, things like that. Not many counters of this card. Usually when you play this card, you have an existing board state, you're probably gonna win the game. It's very rare that you lose the game after resolving this card. So that's why I have it in the deck, especially with things of playing cards on your opponent's turn, right? So even if you have no board state and you play like 2 or 3 cards of rival cards on your opponent's turn, and then you kind of crack back and then you play this card, it can lead to like surprising wins out of nowhere kind of thing. Another card you could play is another win conditioning is Turning the Tide, because you get the 3 blue energy relatively easy. Launch is not the best Turning the Tide deck, but you can do it if you want to. So just kind of keep that in mind if you have something you want to tinker with. I'm not a huge fan of the deck. I had it in there. I was like, I'd rather just have another Fu Shrouded if I wanted to. So just keep that in mind. Next is I have Pan Secret Rare. Typically, I like Kai Secret Rare, Space Time Traveler for the deck, but I'm just starting to like Pan more, just because unisons aren't making a big enough impact right now, unless you're playing blue, and for some odd reason, a lot of people don't like blue right now, so, which I don't blame them. I mean, it's basically Soul Striker and Bust right now. I should see what happens for the ban list. Probably it's going to get released as soon as this video airs, but yeah, I think you still go Pan. It's removal, it's free, it's another quote-unquote floodgate that can stop your opponent's turn if sequenced properly, and then you can develop battle cards on your opponent's turn to reduce the cost and etc. So there's a lot of merit to the card in the deck too. I like it. I think it's really good. I think you guys will like it too in the deck. And I think I went over all the cards in here. I think in tandem, basically in conclusion as far as the deck, I think it's really fun. I think it's really good. I think if you like the Beerus, the Combative Impulse, that was basically the synergy around this deck, or like the idea around it, like, hey, I want to put this card in the best playable spot. What deck is that, right? And, you know, the first thought is like, hey, I was playing the Whis deck. I think you get to play a battle card on your opponent's turn, and it's like, cool, I can then play this card and try to do my thing. But the Whis deck just kind of falls flat a little bit. You know, and I'm not saying this is the best deck or tier 1 deck or anything, because I think this card as a whole will just suffer to the best decks in the format, which are going to be like blue decks or yellow decks, because yellow decks just have all the answers, right? It has Steadfast, it has the Trunks new 3-drop card that as soon as you play it, it's going to go into rest mode kind of thing. So a lot of things are going to go against this card coming out of the next format. I mean, green has like, you know, Shocking Death Ball and Dormant to kill it, things like that, but green's not going to be relevant. And if you're playing a green deck, you probably should win anyways. No offense to green leaders, green decks, I apologize. So it's a good card. I like it. I love the idea of it. It's basically another Piccolo Eradicator of Peace. You know, a 2-drop that has strong effects, and it basically helps when it stays on board for long periods of time. But it takes a little bit more work, requires your opponent to play a battle card to gain value from it. So Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe it'll be a tier 1 card and like it'll be super meta relevant, but I don't think it will be. I like the deck a lot. I think you guys will enjoy it. It's definitely a fun brew, especially if you like this card. Definitely try it out. I hope you guys like it. If you guys have any suggestions, feedback, I think the biggest takeaway here is the Warpland synergy, right? So definitely you can utilize that concept with other builds. They can do with like Warplands and like trying to get the second energy coming into active mode, so you don't feel like you're behind. And if you really want that turn 1 play, you can feel like you can still do it and still have a strategy to get a second different color in energy that still mirrors the first monocolor energy you played turn 1, if that makes sense. You can do that with, you know, red blue. You can do it with like, you know, red green, etc., etc. So there's a lot of options you can do with that strategy. So keep that in mind. I hope you guys like it. I think you guys will find Goku Black Unforeseen Darkness is a big plus in the deck, and you know, and maybe, you know, if like Piccolo, or I'm sorry, if Beerus 2-drop isn't good enough, you can just side in Keflas and flip-flop between the two, right? Because like, hey, if Beerus is not good, I'm like, I need to play a slower game, so I'm going to put more Keflas in the deck, kind of thing, which you already have blue-yellow combo power, and you can even potentially side in a couple more of them, right? Or you can side in Saiyan Instincts or Eliminators, things like that, to make blue-yellow arrival a little bit more feasible. So keep that in mind. I don't know if Kefla is the best card right now, but with all these barrier threats that future Trunks decks play, and that deck's absolute pain. And their barrier 3-drop Trunks is an absolute pain too, so keep that in mind. I guys hope you guys like the deck profile. Definitely check it out. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. Definitely share the video and the Patreon to all your friends, and I hope you guys enjoyed the previous video about the Goku. Yeah, set 16 decks, the 4 decks there. Vegeta BR is going to be coming up soon. That's some cool spice there. I think you guys will enjoy that. As some other brews that I'll go over for the future. I'm out, boys. Have a good one for the next deck profile coming soon. Peace, boys and girls. Bye.